After the age of 60, the most frightening thing is not gray hair, wrinkles, or the fact that you can no longer run as fast as you once did. What is far more frightening is the day you realize you need to push with your hands just to get out of a chair. You begin walking more slowly when going down the stairs. You look down at your feet more often when walking on uneven ground. You hesitate before bending down to pick something up because you worry that you might lose your balance when you stand again. And then, very quietly, you begin changing your life to accommodate a body you no longer completely trust. You turn down a trip because you are afraid there will be too much walking. You avoid places with too many stairs. You no longer feel comfortable going out alone at night because you worry that you might trip or fall. Maybe you have never said this out loud to anyone, but deep down, you know your body has changed. And here is what I want you to understand from the very beginning. Loss of independence rarely happens in a single day. It usually begins with small abilities disappearing little by little. A little strength in the legs, a little stability around the hips, a little reaction speed when the body suddenly loses balance. And because these changes happen slowly, many people simply think, I guess I'm just getting old. But that is not the whole story. Yes, age affects the body. We cannot deny that. But age is not the only answer. Your body also responds to the way you use it every single day. Think about it this way. If you walk only on smooth, flat surfaces every day, your body has very little reason to maintain its ability to react when you suddenly slip. If every time you stand up from a chair, you push yourself up with both hands, your legs receive less challenge. If you constantly avoid side-to-side movements, because you are afraid of losing your balance, the muscles responsible for stabilizing your hips may be used less and less. The human body is incredibly intelligent. It adapts to what you ask of it. But sometimes that intelligence creates a problem, because abilities that are rarely used can gradually decline. And this is the most important perspective I want to share with you today. The message is not, you are old, so you simply have to accept becoming weak. The real message is, your body is adapting to the signals you send it every day. So the real question is this, what signals are you sending to your body? In this video, I want to share 3 simple types of movement, not to turn you into an athlete, not to leave you exhausted, and certainly not to make you train like a 25-year-old. The goal is to help your body maintain 3 abilities that are extremely important in everyday life. The ability to stand up using your own strength. The ability to stay stable when your body weight shifts from side to side. And the ability to react when you unexpectedly misstep or lose your balance. The final part in particular may completely change the way you think about balance. But before we begin, leave a comment and tell me your age, along with one thing that feels more difficult today than it did about 5 years ago. Is it standing up from a chair? Climbing stairs, carrying heavy objects, or maintaining your balance? Your answer does more than help us understand our viewers. It may also help someone else realize that they are not the only person experiencing these changes. Now let's begin with a movement that seems completely ordinary, standing up from a chair. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? But take a moment to observe yourself carefully. When you stand up, do you need to push with both hands? Do you have to lean far forward? Do you rock your body to create momentum? Have you ever avoided sitting in a low chair because you were worried that getting back up would be difficult? These are important signs to notice, because in everyday life, the body often learns to compensate before we realize that something is getting weaker. When the legs lack strength, the body uses the arms. When control declines, the body uses momentum. When confidence disappears, the body rushes through the movement to escape the unstable moment as quickly as possible. And because you eventually manage to stand up, you may assume everything is still fine. But there is a major difference between being able to do something and being able to do it well. That is why the first movement deserves your attention. Standing up from and sitting down into a sturdy chair with control. Place both feet firmly on the floor. Keep them at a comfortable distance apart. Lean your upper body slightly forward and stand using your leg strength within a range that feels safe for you. Then, when you sit back down, do not let your body simply collapse into the chair. Lower yourself slowly. This is the part many people overlook. Standing up shows your ability to produce force, but sitting down, and in real life, you need both. When you step down from a stair, your body needs control. When you lower yourself onto a toilet, your body needs control. When you lose your balance and need to quickly lower your center of gravity, your body needs control. So do not ask only, "Can I stand up?" Ask another question. Can I lower myself slowly and under control? That is a completely different standard. A person may stand up quickly by using momentum, but if that same person cannot sit down slowly and instead drops into the chair, their ability to control the movement may still need improvement. And here is the first practical lesson. You do not improve by feeling ashamed of your weakness. You improve by seeing it clearly. If you currently need your hands to stand up, that does not mean you have failed. It is simply information. It is your starting point. Maybe today you can perform only a few repetitions. That is okay. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. After 60, the goal is not to exercise in order to impress people. The goal is to make something that feels difficult today feel a little easier 1 month from now. That is real progress. If you are beginning to realize that strength after 60 is not just about muscle, but is directly connected to your ability to live independently, take a moment to like this video so more older adults can discover this information. Now let's move to the second ability. This one is often overlooked because most people think of the body as moving only forward. But real life does not happen in a straight line. Imagine you are walking through a grocery store. A child suddenly runs across your path and you have to step sideways to avoid them. Or you are walking on a sidewalk when an uneven paving stone suddenly shifts your body to the left. Or perhaps you are simply putting on a pair of pants and for a few seconds, most of your body weight is supported by one leg. Every day we experience countless side-to-side movements. But look at the way most people exercise. They walk forward, they cycle forward, they use a treadmill and move forward. They climb stairs and move forward. Very few people intentionally train their ability to control the body when weight shifts to the left or right. And that creates an important gap. Because you do not only need strong legs, you also need enough stability around the hips to prevent your body from collapsing toward one side when you move. One simple movement that can challenge this ability is a controlled side leg raise. Stand next to a stable surface, such as a kitchen counter or a heavy chair. Keep one hand near the support for safety. Keep your torso relatively upright. Then slowly move one leg out to the side. You do not need to kick your leg high. You do not need to prove that you are flexible. And you definitely do not need to move quickly. In fact, when people try to lift the leg too high, they often begin leaning their entire torso in the opposite direction. At that point, the body is compensating rather than truly controlling the movement. So the goal is not how far your leg can travel. The goal is how well you can control your body. This is an important lesson for anyone over 60. Movement quality often matters more than appearance. A small movement performed with good control may be more valuable than a large movement performed with momentum. Imagine two people. The first person lifts the leg very high, but has to lean the entire torso to one side. The second person lifts the leg only a short distance, but keeps the body stable. Who is actually demonstrating better control? The answer is not always the person who moves farther. Sometimes the person with better control is the person with the stronger foundation. And this principle applies not only to exercise, it applies to aging itself. Many people try to train exactly as they did when they were 30 or 40. They move too fast. They ignore uncomfortable warning signs. They believe that a workout must leave them exhausted, sore, or completely drained in order to be effective. But after 60, intelligence matters more than ego. Your body does not need you to punish it. Your body needs a signal that is clear enough, consistent enough, and safe enough for adaptation. And that brings us to the second practical lesson. Do not chase exhaustion, chase control. Because your goal is not to survive a terrifying workout. Your goal is to move through real life with greater confidence. At this point, we have talked about the ability to stand up. We have also talked about the ability to remain stable when body weight shifts from side to side. But there is still another important problem. You may have relatively strong legs. You may walk every day. You may feel that you are still reasonably fit. But when you unexpectedly misstep, your body may still react too slowly. And this is where we need to talk about balance. Many people think balance is simply a matter of having strong legs, but the reality is far more complex. Imagine accidentally stepping off the edge of a curb. In that moment, you do not have time to think through each individual action. You do not say to yourself, now I will activate my leg muscles, adjust my hips, move my arm to the side, and recover my balance. No, your body has to react almost automatically. Your brain, your eyes, your inner ear, your joints, your muscles, your internal sense of where your body is in space. All of these systems must work together within a very short period of time. That is why balance is not only a story about strength, it is also a story about communication. Imagine a fire department. You may have very strong firefighters, but if information arrives too slowly, the response will still be delayed. Your body works in a similar way. One simple way to challenge this system is standing on one leg in a safe environment. And I want to emphasize two words: in a safe environment. This is not a competition. It is not a test designed to impress anyone. And it is not something you should attempt in the middle of a room, far away from support, if you are uncertain about your balance. Stand near a sturdy table, kitchen counter, or another stable surface. Place your hand where you can reach support immediately if necessary. Then slowly shift your body weight onto one leg. Lift the other foot just slightly. Even a few centimeters is enough. Keep your eyes looking forward. Breathe normally and observe your body. Do not judge, just observe. Does your body shake? Does your foot constantly make tiny adjustments? Do you unconsciously hold your breath? Do you immediately feel the need to grab the counter? All of these reactions are information. And here is something very interesting. Many people are not as weak as they believe. They are simply no longer accustomed to being challenged. But when the body is never challenged, a vicious cycle can begin. You feel slightly unsteady, so you begin avoiding difficult situations. You stop walking on uneven surfaces. You avoid moving quickly. You go outside less often. You constantly search for something to hold. Because you continually avoid these challenges, your balance system is used less and less. And when it is used less, your confidence declines even further. The less confident you become, the more you avoid, and the cycle continues. This brings us to the third practical lesson. Sometimes confidence does not return through positive thinking. It returns through evidence. Evidence that today you can maintain your balance for a few seconds. Evidence that next week you may do slightly better. Evidence that standing up from a chair feels easier than before. Evidence that when you step sideways, your body sways less. The strongest form of confidence does not come from repeatedly telling yourself, "I'm fine." It comes from your body proving to you, "I am still capable." And that is why I do not want you to treat this video as a simple list of 3 exercises that you forget tomorrow. The principles behind these movements matter more than the names of the exercises themselves. Your body needs reminders. A reminder that your legs still need to produce force. A reminder that your hips still need to control movement. A reminder that your nervous system still needs to react. Not once, but consistently. There is a very common mistake in the way we think about health. We wait. We wait until something hurts before we begin taking care of our body. We wait until after a fall before we begin training balance. We wait until standing up becomes difficult before we start thinking about leg strength. We wait until a problem becomes serious before deciding that something needs to change. But health is not only about repairing what has already been damaged. Health is also about maintaining the abilities you still have. Think about a house. You do not need to wait until the roof collapses before checking a crack. You do not need to wait until the electrical system catches fire before paying attention to damaged wiring. Your body is no different. Small signs do not always mean that a disaster is coming, but they deserve attention. Are you using your hands more often when you stand up? Pay attention. Are you beginning to fear uneven surfaces? Pay attention. Are your steps becoming shorter? Pay attention. Do you no longer enjoy going out alone? Pay attention. Because sometimes a major problem does not begin with pain. It begins with avoidance. And this is a perspective I believe many people need to hear. The goal of exercise after 60 is not to become 25 again. You do not need to prove that you are still young. You do not need to chase anyone else's standards. You simply need to protect the abilities that keep your life in your own hands. Standing up by yourself, walking by yourself, carrying your own belongings, getting into the bathroom safely, visiting your friends, stepping onto a bus or train, deciding for yourself where you want to go. That is real strength. Not a number on an exercise machine, but the number of choices you still have in your life. Now, I want you to forget the idea that you must change your entire life in one day. You do not. Start with one small thing. Choose one ability that you feel your body may be gradually losing. If standing up has become more difficult, begin by practicing standing and sitting in a safe environment. If you feel unstable when moving sideways, pay more attention to control around the hips. If you no longer trust your balance, begin with very small challenges beside a stable support. Do not treat weakness as a sentence. Treat it as information. Do not use age as a reason to give up. Use age as a reason to train more intelligently. And remember this, one day strength is no longer measured by how many pounds or kilograms you can lift. It is measured by whether you can stand up on your own. Balance is no longer just an athletic skill. It becomes the ability to leave your home without living in fear. Exercise is no longer only about looking better in the mirror. It becomes a way to continue living life on your own terms. So do not ask, at my age, is it too late? Ask a different question. If I begin today, which abilities can I still protect? Write number 1 in the comments if you want to improve your ability to stand up. Write number 2 if you want to feel more stable when walking. And write number 3 if you want to focus on improving your balance. If you know a mother, a sister, a wife, or a friend who is beginning to lose confidence in her body, share this video with her. Not to frighten her, but to remind her that the body still needs to be used, challenged, and cared for. And if you want more clear, practical, and easy to apply health information for life after 60, subscribe to the channel. Because growing older is natural, but quietly surrendering abilities that your body may still be capable of training is not something we automatically have to accept. Your body is still listening. Every step is a signal. Every time you deliberately stand up, it is a signal. Every time you practice control and balance, it is a signal. So do not wait until your body forces you to pay attention. Begin while you still have the power to choose. Start slowly, start safely, but start today.